everybody, Frank Chen here with REIClub.com, your link to creative real estate. Today I got a quick new video for you covering some important questions you should be asking your motivated sellers when they call you. Now, like in all my videos, everything I talk about I include in the description below. Simply click show more and you can follow right along. So I recently had a conversation with a real estate expert's coaching floor, and I was very curious to find out what the #1 challenge was for their students. And what I found out was, to my surprise, not anything what I thought. It was actually just picking up the phone. So even after all the work that the students put in to generate these leads, for some reason they were just too scared to pick up the phone and speak with a motivated seller. So the big question here is why? So my guess is they probably didn't know what or how to ask the questions that needed to be asked. And if that for any reason happens to be you, I highly encourage you to keep watching. So the best thing that you can do for yourself, especially if you're not comfortable speaking to someone new, is to have a list of standardized questions that you just ask everyone. But just not any question. We want to make sure they're the right questions that are going to help you make a decision and sound competent, right? So although, by no means this being comprehensive, I prepared a list of 15 questions that I think you should include in your questionnaire when speaking to motivated sellers. Now, you're going to get a lot more comfortable with this process, and you may decide to add some questions. You may decide to omit some questions. Whatever you need to do to fit your style, we encourage you, okay? Now, when a seller does call you, it's important to establish rapport first before asking the tougher questions, okay? By building rapport, I mean like to, create a more friendly conversation before straight getting into the nitty-gritty, right? So when someone calls you, typically you're gonna be like, hi, I saw your ad, or I got your, your mailing piece. I see that you buy houses in cash. I was curious what you're gonna offer for my home. Always want to lead people away take a few steps back and lead them towards some easier questions, right? Like, hey, thanks for calling me. I'm glad you got my ad. I am sorry, but I didn't catch your name. And for which property is this for? And do you mind if I get your number in case I lose you on the call, right? So right then and there, name, property address, phone, that's your lead. Then you go and you slowly move on to your next questions, right? Like, how long have you lived here for? Or do you like the neighborhood? And the most important question you want to ask in the intro rapport part is, how did you find us, right? So if you're doing multiple marketing pieces, direct mail, Craigslist, green sheets, the newspaper, you can actually track where people are calling you in from, and you can isolate it down to which marketing methods are working best for you, okay? So once you start seeing the conversation heading in a more friendly direction, you can see them being more comfortable with you, then you want to ask, I'd really like to learn a little bit more about your home. Is it cool if I ask you a few more questions about it? Once they give you the permission, they're going to be prepared to answer the questions. So you start asking the tougher ones, like, are you the owners on the title? You need to know this because you need to know if you're talking to the right person, the decision maker, not a tenant buyer, someone who still has to ask someone else for more information, right? The next thing is, what do you like most about your home? This gives them an opportunity to talk more, kind of give you more of the features of the home to get a better understanding of what the condition of the home is. Also, do you know of any repairs that need to be done to make your property like new? And you can always include in there some leading questions like, do you feel like the carpet needs to be replaced or the kitchen needs to be redone? If they say yes in the area, like kitchen, like what would you say needs to be done in the kitchen? Again, the whole point here is to ask short and simple, direct questions and allow them to talk the most, so you can get as much information out of them as possible, okay? Now, once you've got that information, you can ask other questions like general property info, like what's the square footage of your home? Number of bedrooms, bathroom, parking. Is it covered parking? Is it a garage parking? Is it garage conversion? Always important to ask. It helps determine values of the home. Also, one of the best questions you can ask is, may I ask why you are selling? Just sit back and let them just tell you, oh, my husband and wife lost their job. Oh, we can no longer afford the mortgage. Oh, we had a death in the family. Oh, we just need to move to new school districts. Whatever it may be, let them tell you. It'll give you an idea of how motivated or where their motivation is coming from. Also, is there a loan attached to the property? If yes, do you have any idea what is left on the loan? A good way to ask that question again is when you're asking, why they're selling, really listen carefully and look for certain ways or looking for certain indicators that are going to help you segue into the harder questions, like, oh, we can no longer afford the loan. Oh, if you don't mind me ask, like, how much is that payment that you're currently making? And if, by any chance, do you know how much is left on the principal amount? That way it seems more seamless versus out of the blue. Oh, what do you own the property? Blah, 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 blah. So you kind of get the hint there. Now, another important question you can ask as well is, what do you think the property is worth? That's very valuable information, and if you come into this slightly prepared, you'll have an idea if it's over, under, and where you need to go from there. And of course, you can ask them, are you looking to get cash up front? If they say yes, it's okay to ask them why. Just be, like tactful about it. But then, of course, you try to negotiate them out into maybe a more payment style. Like, would you be willing to take payments? So those are really the typical questions you should be asking. I know I've gone through these rather quickly, but again, I do include these in the description below in an organized fashion so you can easily follow along. And of course, there is much more information to be gathered, but these are really the basic questions that can help you determine if you have a motivated seller and some of the options that you have that are going to be made available to you for acquisition strategies. Now, if you think this is a good deal, only then do you put forth the time and energy to research and familiarize yourself with, what's being sold in that area, comps, tax roll amounts, rent values, the type of houses that are being sold, their conditions, almost like a realtor would. And that way you'll be a lot more prepared when submitting an offer and understanding how the numbers will work. Again, guys, this is Frank Chen with REIClub.com. I hope you did enjoy the video. Leave comments below about what you did think about it. Click the like button because it really does help us out. But most importantly, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can keep you informed when brand new videos just like this are posted. Again, thank you so much for your continued support. We look forward to talking to you next week. Take care, good investing, and bye-bye.